Hello again, everybody, and as the title suggests, I made a really costly mistake with my 370Z. For those of you who've been following my channel, you'll know that I recently ordered some Nismo bumpers for my 370Z. The bumpers came in a couple of weeks ago. You might have seen the unboxing video of that. Everything was okay with the kit. There was some minor scuffing on it, but nothing major. And then I went ahead and shipped them off to my paint guy to have them painted. Now, this guy works privately out of his garage, and he's fairly reasonably priced. I decided to use him off of a recommendation from a friend, but he had never done any bumpers that were this complicated to paint. For those of you, you'll know that the 370Z Nismo edition, the bumpers have two different colors of paint that you have to use. You, of course, have the space gray for the bottom of the bumper, and then, of course, whatever body color you choose for the rest of it. And then some of the paint lines can be a bit tricky. And this ended up causing the guy that I chose a lot of grief. He was constantly complaining about how difficult it was to paint these things. But overall, he ended up doing a fairly good job. Because of how difficult the bumpers were, we did go back and forth on the price a little bit. He originally quoted me at around $800 to have both of the bumpers painted, but he didn't know what he was getting himself into. And this is where I made my first mistake, guys. I actually offered to pay him the amount that I did, $1,400. I got that amount based off of roughly double the amount of labor that he usually charges for these things. But he did a great job for the most part. It's just, there's one minor issue with these bumpers, and that's the fact that they're the wrong color. So normally on a stock 370Z, the white is more of this pearl color that you see here, but the color that the bumpers ended up coming out is more of this pure white. There's almost no cream to it. Now the guy said that I can expect some amount of color mismatch when getting these painted, but this is just way too far off. So how did a color mismatch like this even happen? Well, the guy actually ordered the correct paint, at least according to the paint code. The paint on this car is QAB, and that was what was on the can that he ordered. The problem is this guy didn't understand that there are different variants of the QAB paint color, at least according to Nissan. Nissan makes different variants, some of them closer to the pearl white like we have on the bumpers, some of them closer to the white like we had on the original car. He went ahead and sprayed a paint card to be able to check to see if it was correct, but he claims that because my car wasn't there, he didn't have a car to actually match the color with, and so he went ahead and just sprayed the entire bumpers anyways. And when I showed him that the paint was this off, he proceeded to blame me, saying that I gave him the go-ahead when I saw the sample on the paint card, but I didn't even have my car there. That's partly my mistake. I should have driven down there and not said to go ahead and paint it, but he also should have been more professional and had me actually drive down there. I was more than willing to go down there to make sure that the paint was the correct color, but we went ahead and sprayed the bumpers, and now the paint is really far off. So now I have to figure out what it is I'm going to do about this. So there are three options to try and get this fixed. I can try and have the bumpers blended, where you spray a little bit of paint from the hood into the bumper to try and blend the color and make the color change there not as abrupt. I really don't want to do that. It is the cheapest option, but it also just won't look that great, especially because of how far the paint color is on this, how far off it is. It's not going to look that great. The second option would be to go ahead and get the bumpers repainted. That's the option I'm sure most of you are probably trying to tell me. I should just take these back to the guy that I used and have him repaint it because it was his slip up. But I really don't want to use this guy again. He was very unprofessional in the way he handled this. He ended up telling me to go and pick up the correct paint, so I couldn't blame him for the paint mismatch. And to me, that's really unprofessional. I'm not an expert at matching paints, so I shouldn't be forced to go and try and fix this. So if I am going to repaint it, I'm considering another guy in Fort Worth. He's done work on a 370 before and matches the paint almost perfectly. So that's another option. It will be fairly expensive though. We'll end up having to pay another $1,400 probably to get these repainted, but we'll see how that goes. Now, there is a third option that I'm not seriously considering yet, and that is the possibility of wrapping the car. Now, I don't like the idea of wrapping a car just because it doesn't feel the same as paint, doesn't look the same either, but it would be a much cheaper option. My estimate is to get the materials to be able to wrap this, it's probably about $500. I might be able to do most of it myself, maybe hire somebody to do some of the more complicated areas on the car, but it would be a much cheaper option, and there are some things that you can do with vinyl wrap that you can't do with normal paint, including graphics and that sort of thing. I do have a sample coming in to try and wrap the roof. I'm not going to tell you guys what color it is yet, but I am going to try and wrap the roof just to see how that goes. more than likely I will end up just getting the bumpers repainted, but I am considering wrapping it as well, just as another option. But the lesson learned here, guys, is be careful who you choose to paint your car. Don't make a costly mistake like I did. I'm now $1,400 in the hole, and I have a pair of bumpers now that don't even match the car. Make sure they actually paint match the color correctly. Normally a shop will take, for instance, a gas cap or something to ensure that they're matching the color perfectly, or they might at least match it with a paint card, but make sure that the shop you choose actually matches the paint correctly before they start spraying the bumper down. Now, over the next couple of weeks, I'll eventually figure out what it is I plan to do. I will try and wrap the roof just to see how that goes and see if wrapping is an option that I would consider. But I will hopefully have all of this fixed by the end of January. That's my plan. And you'll be following along with me, of course, for that. I'll show you guys what I am doing to try and get this fixed. And I do have some other projects coming up as well. For some of you who are a little more observant, you may have noticed there is something different about the 370Z. I'm not going to spoil what it is. You'll find that out here in the next couple of videos. But if you know what I'm talking about, comment down below. It's going to be a fun project, guys. I've been looking to do this for a while now, but I didn't think it was going to come up this soon. But it's going to be a lot of fun. I've got some more videos coming up, so if you're not subscribed to my channel yet, make sure you do so. You can keep up with this build and everything that I'm doing with the car. But thank you guys for watching, and I will see y'all in the next video. Later.